In case you're not aware, yes, Jinx is alive. I mean, there are plenty of scenes which hint that in the show, and even the creators and voice actors hint that whenever they have that interview. No, it's a breakdown video of the scenes from Arcane. It's called Arcane Afterglow, made by Netflix. I will post a link in the description. They have a bunch of questions, they answer them based on the scenes, and one of the questions was, is Jinx alive at the end of the season? And the answer, given by them, it's up for interpretation. We already know what that means. It means that Jinx is alive, and if we simply go and check the movements, the one with Caitlyn whenever she checks the schematics, the one with the purple trail as one option, or the fact that Vander could get consciousness again and push Jinx under the explosion to get inside the ventilation system, because the ventilation system is under the room where the explosion happens in, then if you consider all of these, you already can figure out the idea that Jinx is alive. But then we have another one, another moment which is very important and the focus of this video. The blimp which is flying away from Piltover and Zone, because that is tied to the first episode of the first season. Yes, the last episode of the season, of the last season, is tied to the first episode of the first season. In that episode, Powder mentions that one day she's going to fly on one of those, as in on the blimp, and now the blimp flies away from Piltover and Zone, and it is the same one Powder wanted to fly on. And now it is Jinx. The idea and the main focus is, where is she flying to? By now you probably spotted the poll, and maybe you're questioning yourself, why is there a fourth zone? The question of the poll is, at the end of Arcane, which region do you think Jinx is going to? These are the confirmed places that will be explored. You're familiar with Noxus, Ionia and Demacia if you watched the Necrit video with Christian Linke, the co-creator of Arcane. However, Christian Linke had another interview in which he mentioned Bilgewater as another zone they are going to explore in the future project. Another zone they are heavily investing in. That's why there is a fourth option. And now there is probably another question you are eager to find the answer to. Why is Bilgewater winning? Well, I have an answer for that, but of course there could be other answers which make a lot more sense. I believe I have a good understanding as of why Jinx could end up in this location and why other people believe that as well. The description of Bilgewater is very simple. A place where you can have a new beginning, because nobody cares about your past. People from all over the world are gathered in that location. Even Hextech is mentioned as one part of Bilgewater, so if Jinx ends up there, she would be a master user of Hextech. But then again, the main plotline, which brings the idea that Jinx could end up in this location, is something they scrapped for the first season, where Powder was supposed to go in Bilgewater. So there is episode 3 of season 1, act 1, right, where Powder is on a blimp flying towards Bilgewater together with the two merchants, or rather pirates, who are trading with Huck in episode 1 of Arcane, Jules and Vern, and they would end up in Bilgewater. That's why she returns in episode 4 looking like a pirate or something like that. There is a post on Twitter detailing the idea. I will post a transcript over here and the link in the description. Very important idea, because even though they scrapped it, it's still important in a way, because so much was invested in making that idea, that plotline. Why not reintroduce it together with Jinx? That would be an idea. The location fits perfectly with her, and not only that, but Bilgewater also reminds me a lot of Zone. Whenever I look at it being built on levels, and the highest level described as the place where you go to drink if you have money, yeah, it reminds me of Zone. Or maybe that's only me. And when it comes to the cycle, because that's important, Jinx stepped away from Piltover and Zone to break the cycle. Killing is a cycle, as mentioned by Silco. You break the cycle when you find the will to walk away. That's when she wants to off herself. But then there is another perspective brought by Echo. He mentions no matter what happened in the past, it's never too late to build something new, someone worth building it for. That's why she leaves Piltover and Zone. That's the new perspective, that she has to build something new. and she has to move away from Vi because Vi would never let go of her. She's technically part of the cycle because I believe the cycle is more than just the killing. It's the people who get close to her. Those people end up dying, and that's part of the cycle she believes has to be stopped. That's why she moves away from Piltover and so on. She has to go through a phase of refining herself, not necessarily ending up being a monk meditating from dusk till dawn, right? Which is why I do not believe Ionia is the best place for her to end up in, especially if the plotline will be about the Ionian invasion. Too many characters in one place. I really don't want to see Jinx in Ionia whenever the war happens. I want to see the main guys, the main people fighting. Irelia, Swain, all of those people. And then Demacia. The fact is that the blimp is seen flying through open sea. No land to the left or the right. If they would fly towards Demacia, then they would have land towards the right and the left. They would have to fly near the land, so you would definitely see land whenever you go to Demacia. But now only 3 trade routes are left for the blimp to go through. You have Bilgewater, Ionia and Noxus. You're probably thinking to yourself, why not go through land if she wants to go to Noxus, or if the blimp goes to Noxus? Pretty simple. There are a bunch of high mountains surrounding Piltover, and if the blimp cannot fly over them, then they will choose another pathing to arrive in the capital of Noxus. But after the events of Arcane, I do not believe she would choose to go in Noxus. So that's already 3 zones which fall out of these 4. There could be other arguments as of why she would end up in any of these. Maybe in the next 5 years until the next project is released. Okay, the next 3 years until the next project is released, we will find better ideas as of why she would end up in another location, but for now I believe Bilgewater is the best location, and why I believe many people also think the same way. It fits the character really well. A couple of the arguments from this video can be seen in the comment section of the poll, and I thought to myself, yes, it makes a lot of sense to introduce this because, for example, Christopher makes a good point by mentioning that in Bilgewater she can start a new life, and the description of Bilgewater is where you can have a new beginning. And of course he also mentions his arguments as of why Demacia is not an option for her, or why Ionia is not an option for her. But I believe if you want to check that out, you can go on and check the comment section. I also saw this comment about the open sea argument, as in the blimp is in the open sea and you cannot see land anywhere. A very good point, and that's why I introduced it as well. There are plenty of points to be had about Demacia, for example the fact that they do not allow magic. Maybe whenever they see Jinx using her shimmer power, almost teleporting, are they going to believe it's magic? They are very strict in my opinion for Jinx to spend her time there with her shimmer powers, unless she simply is not going to use those, but I doubt it. And of course, finally, if you want to also interact with this poll, you can do so. The poll is very new, 12 hours ago, and well, it has a bunch of votes and a bunch of comments, so thank you to whoever decided to vote or comment. If you also want to give your opinion, you can, or if you want to give your opinion in the comment section of this video, you can do that as well. Don't forget, we have a lot of time until the next project is released, and I can still post a bunch of videos about why Jinx would end up in Noxus or Ionia or Demacia. Who knows what's gonna happen?